Okay, so welcome, LifeVantage family. I'm so excited to see you all here. It is really fun to see so many faces on here on a Sunday night. And I want to start by just, you know, acknowledging you for being here because, first of all, um, you could be doing other things, right? So you chose to take 30 minutes out of your life to come here and pour into yourself and give yourself something to help you grow your business. So first and foremost, that is a commitment. That's a sacrifice of some other personal time. So thank you. My name is Kathleen Trost, and I'm a Pro 7, an Elite Pro 7 in LifeVantage. I'm really excited to be here. I actually love this stuff. And I've been in the business for 6 years. I have my doctorate in physical therapy, was a private practice owner, and in the health and fitness industry for really my whole adult life. I love it. It's really my jam. But when I learned about LifeVantage, I was actually in a position where I was looking and hoping for something that I could do that would give me the flexibility that I was praying for to be home with my 2 kids. And I knew nothing about network marketing. I have no experience in network marketing or sales or anything like that. Not that there were salespeople. And I just knew I was going to keep sharing this information. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was going to share that news clip because honestly, I felt morally obligated and I felt excited because this is something that could help people first and foremost. But then I really started to understand the business model and the idea of leverage and not having to do it all myself, and learning how to recognize people who were also leaders and also were excited and also were willing to do the work to build a business. And so that's something I wanted to talk about tonight. If you're just jumping on, if you could mute your line. I wanted to talk tonight about recognition and why this is such an important pillar in our business. And I can tell you, I was that, strong, independent woman, and I couldn't really receive recognition. In fact, when people tried to recognize me, or I would just deflect it. And quite frankly, even if I deserved recognition of myself and trying to acknowledge what I've accomplished, I kind of coughed it up to luck sometimes. Like I really didn't give myself the self-appreciation and acknowledgement for what I've done. So this business has taught me that in a big, big way. And not only for myself, but to also recognize others. So wherever you are, here we are, it's the 30th of the month, the last day of the month. Some of you are still running for a goal. Maybe some of you just enrolled this month. Thank you for being here. Wherever you are right now, I just want you to take a minute to acknowledge yourself for saying yes to LifeVantage, to creating something different in your life that you didn't have before. Acknowledge yourself for where you've come this month, whether you have reached the goal you set or you didn't reach the goal you set. Something happened and you did something to move forward. You poured into yourself. You did your personal growth work. You showed up at that training event to learn more. You made those invitations. You did those exposures. You're doing the things you need to do to grow your business. So wherever you are, acknowledge yourself. I want to tell you a story. My 8-year-old son is in swim team for the first time. And so we're first time swim team parents. It's quite interesting. And this weekend, he got signed up by his coach to do the IM, which is all 4 strokes. And we didn't even know that he could do the butterfly stroke. If anybody is following me here, that's a hard stroke. And we were panicking because we didn't even know that he knew he was doing that. Anyway, he jumps in the water. He's up against a team that is a higher division. And the other 2 kids he's racing against are older and already faster. So he, of course, falls behind, and he comes in last, and he gets out of the pool, and we give him a big hug, and he almost pushed us away. He just couldn't even take in the congratulations and acknowledgement for what he did. And we do that all the time. We kind of push people away, like we don't need the recognition. That's not that important to me. But what he didn't recognize, he was really, really bummed that he didn't win. And maybe sometimes you get bummed that you didn't hit your goal, that you didn't win, or you didn't do the things you said you were going to do, or you just didn't get to where you thought you would. But you know what we told him? He said, Ian, you did your first IM. You did your first invitation. You did your first exposure. We said, Ian, you actually caught up with that guy in the last lane. You almost got into second place. So we really tried to pour into him the fact that, and that even his coaches saw it in him to do that race. We tried to point out all the things that he did, even though he didn't win the race. And that's what we need to do for ourselves and the people in your organization, is to point out the things they are doing. The little wins matter. The little wins matter here. It's not just the rank advancements, because we see that all the time. And I even know people that don't want to, they get triggered or upset that other people are rank advancing around them, and maybe they aren't. But the point is, your ability to celebrate other people is going to give back to you tenfold. My husband and I were talking about how at the swim meet, all the parents were around the pool, but all the kids were sitting in the chairs, or they're off in the field somewhere. And we found that really interesting, this culture that the parents were there clapping and cheering all the kids on, but the teammates weren't. So in LifeVantage, we're all teammates here, and we need to be the ones cheering on our team. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. And so that when it's your turn, you have that support. So it's a give and take, and it's beautiful. I just love this metaphor, because when it happened this weekend, I'm like teaching about this stuff and talking about this on our team call. So I'm going to point out 4 ways to increase or embrace recognition in your business. 1, I hope you have notes, okay? Because this is really, really important. Acknowledging yourself, which I talked about, and being open to receiving your own acknowledgement. It's not just luck. It's not just because somebody else went out and they rank advanced to Pro 3 and that's why you're a Pro 4. It's not that. Like, you had to do it. You had your part in it. So recognize yourself. You signed up. You did your invites, your presentations. You asked for help, which is one of the hardest things people do. So acknowledge yourself for that. The mental stretch in this is sometimes way harder than the mechanics of the business, is just being vulnerable and asking for help. And you probably stretched yourself to reach a goal or get to where you are. That took effort. So that's number 1, acknowledging self. The 2 is acknowledging the wins of others. Like I was talking about with the teammates cheering their fellow swimmers on, that you are pointing out the small wins for people. Maybe that's in your Facebook group or your messenger groups. Maybe it's on a phone call or a Zoom, that you're seeing those things in other people. And you're showing up at events to stand and be in recognition of those people too. When we grow our business and bring people into this, we get to be their cheerleaders in a way. And I think being at events and being up there to stand up and see them in front of the room is so important. And lastly, allow yourself to receive the acknowledgement from others. When it's your turn, when you rank advance, when you do those things, instead of saying, yeah, and this person did this and this person did this, or deflecting it, or getting uncomfortable, or saying something else, or having to return the compliment to the person acknowledging you, just say thank you, I receive. Because being in that receptive mode, being open to receiving that, is the doorway to your success. It is very hard going into the next month, July, from a place of disappointment, scarcity, I'm not good enough, this is hard. We need to turn that around, folks, because you can't get there from there. I want you to, or invite you to, find appreciation in where you are. Everything is working out in your favor. Just trust that. Trust that, and find that energy space moving into July. And tonight, before you go to bed, write down your goals for July. Set an intention of what you want to manifest. Find your gratitude, find your appreciation, reach up for help. Tell somebody what you want to achieve next month. Maybe you're struggling in a certain area. Make sure that you're doing your work. Do a little research if you need help on leadership, or really anything, any topic that you need work on. Read the book and focus on that as you grow your business. Setting your goals and setting your intention is key. What you achieve is what you see, is what you believe. You will go and move forward towards that point if you can see it. So with that, I am so excited to introduce to you Dr. Catherine Caden-Ficarra. She's going to do our product portion of tonight's training, talking about NRF2, her favorite product, and just a little bit about Dr. Cat. First of all, she's become one of my best friends, and I did not know her before this. We actually bonded over a Guns N' Roses cover band concert, and it was a blast. And you will find some really amazing friends in this business. She is a pediatric and perinatal chiropractor. She is up for her certification in functional medicine right now, but she's been a chiropractor for 19 years, has her own practice. She's the mom of two, a holistic mama, married to Thad, and she is a Pro 6 in this business and also had never built a network marketing business before. So Dr. Cat, are you there?
Oh my gosh.
You're going to have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Okay, so Dr. Cat, she knows so much about this topic, and you're going to walk away being like, oh my gosh, I need to call 5 people at least tonight, okay? Because she's going to tell you and share with you how big a deal this NRF2 activation is. So okay, I'm going to go on mute. I'm going to turn it over to Kat.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kathleen. You could, don't follow how I do tech stuff though, because look at this. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes?
So yes, we can hear you. Can you screen share?
Yeah, I'm going to screen share, and I put this presentation together really quickly. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Share screen. Okay, share. Can you see my screen? Little diver, you hear that? See that? Kathleen, can you see that?
Yes, we see that. And Kat, before you actually start in your presentation, can you share about how you got into this business?
Sure, I'd love to do that. So first of all, thanks for the introduction. You're such a leader, and you're so much of an inspiration to me. And I've learned so much about be it how to be in this business and recognition. Thank you so much for that. I'm gonna have to ask you to like repeat all those to me later. How I got involved is a pediatric OT and MFR specialist, Niall, shared this information with me when they were pregnant with their 3rd child. And we connected in my office at a birth workers event, and we connected. I think this is the important thing for everybody to remember. We had things in common, and we built trust because people will do business with whom they know, like, and trust. And so she was able to, at that time, get my attention sufficiently. It took a few months still, but Niall shared about NRF2 activation, etc. And what really caught me at the end, because I wasn't interested in not only network marketing, but not interested in anything that I hadn't heard of. So there's a measure of ego involved in how much time doctors spend in school. And especially when you've been through a lot of autoimmune health issues, et cetera, you feel like you've done it all and heard it all. And so even though I didn't think I had ego wrapped around it, at one point Niall said, you know, you have an onus on you to share this information with people, or at least be aware of it. And it was that kind of challenge, if you will, that kind of got me into learning a little bit more about it gradually, with multiple touches to keep me intrigued and up to date on the research, etc. And then eventually I joined the business before trying the product. So does that work, Kathleen? Okay. And I did have a powerful product experience, but in the interest of time, I would love to share with you a little bit that I put together about NRF2 activation. And one of the things that's challenging when you have a desire to share about this information is to not say too much. So I invite you to listen, but please, it would be verbal diarrhea to share this with any healthcare practitioner, unless you're a healthcare practitioner as well, and they really, really are fascinated. But what I put together here were slides actually from the most recent 2 modules that I have attended in the Institute for Functional Medicine, which is regarded as the highest level of functional medicine training, which is root cause medicine. And so 2018 and 2019 information, and even they don't have what we have. So a little bit about NRF2 activation. So as we know, oxidative stress is the process of making free radicals. We have less enzymes, we end up with more cellular disease. And then our body's exposed to so much junk, right? Pollutants, radiation, Wi-Fi, chemicals, etc. And antioxidants are not enough to do it anymore. And we also know that our product, which actually first, I think, was around since 2003 when it was created, is the most potent activator of this pathway that helps to combat oxidative stress. Drugs are not synergistic. They only activate single molecules in a pathway. And what's cool about what we have is its synergistic effect, which I'll talk a little bit more about at the end. Protandem turns on and upregulates good genes via that pathway called NRF2, and turns off bad genes and pro-inflammatory genes via a pathway called NF-kappa B. So we're going to talk about those 2 pathways shortly. So what's a free radical? Basically, a free radical is when oxygen molecule splits and you end up with 2 unpaired electrons, and they're free radicals because they're not attached, and they like to be attached. So they are going to search for something to become a pair with, and this damages cells, proteins, and basically DNA. So moving on, we've probably all seen this, the formation of free radicals. I'm going to repeat it a few times because it needs to sink in. A lot of people know, okay, we should be careful of the sun and put our sunscreen on, and smoking is bad for you, and eating unhealthy food is bad for you, and sucking in air pollution is bad for you. But one thing that we're not being as careful with is our Wi-Fi and technology usage. And folks, this is a really powerful conversation piece. I think especially in this world of social media, I would say that getting people's attention with regards to the leveraging of what we have versus the cell damage that's happening from exposure to Wi-Fi and EMFs. And if you're not aware of it, then pay attention. These are pretty scary pictures, but I'll just explain that basically when you have exposure to EMFs specifically, although myriad toxins, a variety of chemical reactions happen, and then we make peroxynitrite, if you see it down in the middle there, and then that forms free radicals, oxidative stress, and then ramps up inflammation. Everybody else knows it in inflammation, but one of the biggest pathways for inflammation is called NF-kappa beta, NF-kappa B. So basically, it's recommended, and this little quote up here in the corner is from that article that I attached down there at the bottom. If you type into Google Mercola and NRF2, it'll pull up this article explaining that basically NRF2 activation is one of the key things that we can do to combat Wi-Fi damage and free radical damage from that. Here's a visual above on one side of injury, whether it's oxidative injury from EMFs or injuries from a car accident or chemicals, and then the formation of free radicals leading to oxidative stress. If you like fancy lists, there's the list right here. TNF-alpha, decreased folate in your diet, decreased glutathione, decreased carnitine consumption, decreased CoQ10. I don't know anything that has CoQ10 in it, maybe NRF1. And some other B vitamins, I don't know, maybe Axio. And so our exposure to the environment is causing us to be attacked at a much higher rate now than ever before. Which leads me to talk about the free radical theory of aging. It is one of the theories of aging, but what I found when I was researching different theories of aging is that they always go back at some point to inflammation. And since inflammation is impacted by oxidative stress, I think it's pretty clear, at least to all of us who are aging in reverse in a way with NRF2, that this is a pretty accurate, at least by experience, free radical theory of aging. So that's a visual there on how it happens. Basically, cell death happens and our cells are unhappy. They're rusting from the inside out. They have poor functioning motors in the mitochondria, and it's happening from our environment. As I mentioned before, there's the NF-kappa B pathway on one side that, as you can see, if you just follow the chart, inflammatory things, reactive oxidative species leads to the change in inflammation in your DNA. And that leads to cell death and inflammation, more inflammation. But on the other side there, when you get a little bit of stimulation from oxidative stress, NRF2 keep one pathway reduces your oxidative stress and increases the good endogenous antioxidants, which we'll talk about. So a little bit more about our not so happy friend, NF-kappa B. It's a rapid acting primary transcription factor. It's found in most cell types in an inactive state. That means it has to be activated for you to get unhealthy. So take a look at your environment, your traumas, toxins, thoughts, technology, and tethers in your body and in your tissues and in your fascia. Upon induction, binds to the DNA and promotes inflammatory gene transcription, and it's the central regulator of intracellular immune response. So even autoimmune conditions are caused by this inflammation. Here's another list. I just like lists. It helps. Repetition is the mother of all learning. More persistent oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, excess visceral fat, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. All these things lead to the chronic NF-kappa B upregulation leads to more and more problems with your health. There's another pretty picture. And this is how we looked at it in the Institute for Functional Medicine. Mild to moderate oxidative stress starts the priming of that NRF2 pathway. And if you don't have the ability to respond to it because you have depleted antioxidant enzymes inside your body, you're going to end up with more and more inflammation. And then apoptosis means cell death. Death is bad. Life is good. Not so fast, free radical. The body protects from reactive oxidative species by enzymes. Enzymes are genes, are proteins, catalase, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione peroxidase. So these are the things that you've probably heard a few times. Those are the antioxidants our body makes on the inside. There are ones on the outside from the diet, vitamin C, vitamin E, carotenoids, flavonoids. Those are still healthy for you and they're still good for you, but they're not for their antioxidant value as much as they are helpful cofactors for reactions in your body. So like if you're going in the pool too often with chlorine, to decrease the effects of the chlorine, you could use some vitamin C. But that's different than what it's doing from an antioxidant capacity. So the key here with what we have our hands on is that when you turn on the body's ability to make its own antioxidant enzymes, kind of like an indirect antioxidant, you help your body to do what it's innately designed to do. You are designed and programmed to function. So here's where we have the entrance of nutrigenomics. This is where the scientific study of the interaction between nutrition and genes. And so many of us have believed for years and years that we are just a product of our genes, and we're not. We actually have the ability, through changing our environment, our lifestyle, and especially what we put into our bodies that can activate our bodies, change the genetic expression. That's powerful. It's not even sci-fi, it's just beautiful. So nutrigenomics uses, this is all, by the way, I don't know if you can see it on the side. I copied this all from 2019 Institute for Functional Medicine on the side over there. A wide array of dietary phytochemicals act on the human genome, either directly or indirectly. to alter specific gene expression. Food is information. And food specifically combined like we have is awesome information. Here are ways that NRF2 is activated in the body. Fasting, this is what they say that you can do. Fasting, ketogenic diets, carbohydrate restriction, caloric restriction, like the Prolon FMD fasting mimicking diet, that helps reduce your oxidative stress and increase NRF2 activation. Chiropractic does, believe it or not. Turning off your Wi-Fi reduces it and helps your body to be better. All these things, these are the things that have been studied and what they understand, and the synergistic effect there, actions on multiple pathways. So therefore, having a good diet helps to activate these pathways. And then the hormetic NRF2 activating phytochemicals. So hormesis means too much of a good thing is too much. And that's what's so cool about the synergy in our products. We found out that in 2019, right, Kathleen? Nodded the head on that one, on the study that showed just recently that our products do not accumulate in the body. So it's pretty amazing. Here's a little bit more about NRF2, a protein that plays a crucial role in regulating the antioxidant gene induction. And these are all the big fancy letters and words, but basically it's a process that happens in the liver, turns on our antioxidants in phase 2. Probably have seen this graph at some point before. The classical antioxidants are towards the bottom. They play a role, but the ones that are the most important are the ones that our body makes. And those are depleted by our lifestyle. These are showing the anti-inflammatory effects of NRF2. I want to pay special attention to that line right there. NRF2 is involved in immune regulation. So people, theoretically people, but it was definitely mice in this study, the NRF2 null, meaning they had no NRF2 activation in them, develop autoimmune disease, multi-organ autoimmune inflammation, which resembles systemic lupus erythematosus in humans. So, I mean, don't hold back on sharing this information. And I'll show you a couple more slides. These are all different types of NRF2 activators, plant constituents that are used for NRF2. And then, as I mentioned before, those fancy words. And then this study was really cool just to show you. I don't know if you can see that one that looks just like a mountain, but that is protandem. And sulforaphane is the one that is promoted by everyone, and that's in the bottom. And it is not as effective as protandem NRF2 at inducing the NRF2 pathway, the nuclear erythroid factor 2 pathway that helps turn on the body's ability to make all of its own antioxidants and decrease the production of pro-inflammatory signals. People want easy these days. They want minimal interactions. They want bang for their buck. The best way to do it was with synergy. Having the body have minimal ingredients added to it in one pill, pressed cold tablet that has infinitesimally super small dosages, subtherapeutic dosages of 5 plant ingredients that when they were perfectly combined made them 18 times or 1800% more effective than this by itself. Trust me when I tell you that activation is the future of medicine. It is the future of everything. All of the different supplement companies out there are coming out with a variety of different activators. That is really where they're going. People want synergy. They don't want 30 different bottles. There you go.
Wow. So for anybody who ever runs across somebody that just kind of poo-poos this or they don't get it, just know that they're talking about it up there, okay, in the science world. It just hasn't trickled down to mainstream yet, but you get to know about it now. And I hope that built your belief in what we have, even if some of the science stuff went over your head, like what she said there at the end, this is the future of medicine. This was never meant to be an opportunity. So for that, I am so grateful. And I have huge acknowledgement for the board of directors that decided to move this into network marketing so that people like us could benefit from this, not only health-wise, but financially. So with that, thank you so much, Dr. Kat, for bringing your amazing wisdom to this. don't think you have to go and repeat all of that. But if you do have any medical people that want to hear that, what she talked about, you get the recording of this through Stu Brody tomorrow. So thank you for having us, Maria and Stu and Sean and Michelle Poe for having us on here. Thanks. Have a great night, everybody. Go set your goals for July. Woo-hoo!